This month marks the coming of the annual Soy and Tofu Festival in San Francisco, Japantown, and we visit with Minh Tsai of Hodo Foods to talk about tofu.
How I ended up starting this business was because I grew up in Vietnam and I have ethnic Chinese descent as well. So just like a lot of Southeast Asian and East Asian countries, there's a lot of mom and pop tofu shops in our countries. And that's how I grew up. And when I came to the United States as a teenager, I couldn't find the types of tofu I grew up eating. Because I grew up in that generation of farm to table and the interest in, wow, where does it come from? How does it get made? So tofu comes from soybeans, and legumes in general, it's exceptionally healthy. And it's also one of the highest protein vegetable on the planet. So soybeans has the highest protein amongst all the legumes. And for thousands of years, Asians have really relied on these amazing beans to basically make tofu, which is basically a vegetarian plant-based protein. And you know, in the past decade, with the interest in plant-based food, we have an opportunity to reintroduce tofu, which is seeing tremendous adoption as a natural, organic, traditional plant-based protein. So tons of health benefits. It's clean. You know, it literally just takes a mineral and soy milk to make tofu. And it has as much protein as chicken and beef. It's exceptionally versatile from a recipe standpoint. And I think with greater interest, you know, there are greater experiments and greater number of recipes. When we first started out the farmers markets, we made a flavored product. You know, we made the nuggets. We made something that people are familiar with, like, oh my God, this tastes like a chicken nuggets, right? It's got flavors, because people still didn't know quite what to do with a block of white tofu. So, you know, over the years, we've seen that change. For us, I liken it to the adoption of sushi in the US, because when sushi was first introduced, it was perceived as a raw fish. In the West, we don't really eat raw fish. We don't understand it, the freshness of it, you know, the nuance of it. So people started eating sushi only after the tempuras and the multiple rainbow rolls and all these rolls. And so today, however, sushi is basically everywhere. Kids don't even know that sushi is a Japanese food anymore, you know, and people actually prefer to eat sashimi more. So you have a full cycle of adoption where you introduced, and then it went through a westernization of it through the rolls and the hand rolls and such. And now people come full circle back into sashimi. And we see that with tofu as well. You know, people didn't quite know what to do with the white block. So we had to introduce a lot of delicious flavor items, which are still doing really well, like the curry nuggets, Moroccan flavored tofu. So we did a lot of global recipes. We didn't want just to stay with Asian recipes. We have a lot of Asian recipes with tofu, but really try to take tofu out of the Asian recipe realm, go into Middle Eastern, go into North African, South Asian recipes. So the adoption has gone in that direction. There are broader recipe bases for global flavors. But after going through that cycle, we see more and more people buy the plain block and experimenting themselves, which is to me the most exciting part in sort of expanding the base of adoption. So now you see it in more and more menus, and especially during COVID, we see a tremendous adoption when people cook at home and they want recipes. So tofu has really grown like this past couple of years. During COVID and post-COVID, we see, you know, double-digit growth in the category of tofu adoption. So I think in the horizon, there's more adoption, more interest. So we're playing our part in really helping the consumers understand what it is and how to use it. I'm super excited that the Nichi Bei Foundation is bringing back, you know, the Soy and Tofu Festival, because I remember talking many years ago when it was first launched that I was so happy that there was such an event to educate folks in our community. And it's important, right? Again, to connect back to the past, to educate the future. And I think it's not just us being community-minded, but I think it's part of our DNA to educate. So we are relying on the Nichi Bei Foundation and this event to allow us that platform to educate. So more than happy to support it, every year. So we're honored to be able to do that. It is super excited and proud of the Nichi Bei Foundation's Soy and Tofu Festival. Definitely be there or be square like a block of tofu.